Ada for telling my partner about my thoughts during sex. Before all of this, I want to state that I'm not a native English speaker. My girlfriend, F, 22, and I, M, 28, recently had a rough patch in our relationship. We moved together after 2 months of dating. I should preface this by saying that that was my idea. She was not a big fan of that idea at first, but the advantages that moving in together have were huge, and she recognized that. I make enough money to support the both of us and wanted her to rely on that, while she's still a trainee. Her parents massively traumatized her and don't support her financially. So, to the situation. Whenever I tried to give her criticism or talk about how the things she says or does affect me, she goes into shutdown. It has gotten worse over time. By now, she just always thinks that I must hate her and that she's an awful person, tells me that I shouldn't even be with her. She gets out of those episodes after a couple of hours, but it's very exhausting and extremely hard to deal with for me, because I just can't reach her at all. I try telling her that it's okay, I'm used to worse stuff than what she's doing, but she doesn't seem to listen. Last week, it really got too much for me. After I requested some alone time every day where I can just be in our room alone for some time, she started crying and apologized to me that she never knew I wanted that time. I could have just told her earlier. She said it's not a big deal, that I didn't need to shove that down for so long. I told her that I honestly don't believe that. I knew she would make a big deal out of it yet again, which is why I didn't say anything earlier. That made her so depressed that she gave herself more and more to do, and didn't even come to bed with me. I never wanted her to not go to sleep with me. But she decided that I surely want that alone time before bed, because I told her 2 months ago that I don't feel like I can watch my YouTube videos when she's in the room with me. That way I can do that comfortably, and she'll just come to bed later. I had enough. I convinced her to come to bed with me, but next morning, I told her that I can't do this anymore. That the constant meltdowns for any mild criticism or request I have put her in such a state. I don't even understand how it kept getting worse and worse instead of better. I told her that things need to change or I'm gone. She listened and genuinely fully turned herself around. She now waits before reacting, and then just talks rationally with me instead of just weaponizing her feelings. She immediately went to a clinic and requested to be put on mood stabilizers, which they gave her, and I feel like she's much more peaceful to be around. Additional information for that, she is diagnosed with CPTSD and BPD. Both of those things she already worked through in a mental hospital, where she was stationed for over half a year at age 19. Her and her friends agree that she put in huge effort and was genuinely stable until now. She was also able to effortlessly hold her position as a trainee, has the best grades in her class, and I've seen the feedback her teachers and employers give her. She truly is good at what she does. Possibly, being in a serious relationship again triggered her. I didn't want to have sex for the past couple of days. She has a very high sex drive, and I have sexual trauma, and she didn't even mention the topic at all. Didn't initiate anything, didn't make any sexual comments, didn't tease, nothing. She's always been very understanding with my issues regarding that topic, and has never once pushed me into anything. So yesterday, I initiated sex again. She was fully into it, though unusually submissive. I wasn't really feeling it, and was lost in my head after getting her off. She asked me what it was about, and since she told me that I don't have to walk on eggshells around her, and she told me to communicate with her, I did exactly that. Truthfully, I told her that the sex wasn't really good but at least okay, since I feel like this was more of a hate fuck than actual sex. That is because I was more violent than I wanted to. Also, since I want to make her orgasm, but I can't seem to achieve that with penetration, which is not a known issue from any prior relationships I had, so I hand her the vibrator for that while I keep going. During this, I don't really feel so much, and I told her that during that time, I sometimes get resignated and think to myself, what am I even doing here? When I told her that, I could see the hurt in her eyes already, which frankly pissed me off a little, but I kept my mouth shut. I talked about my feelings like she wanted to. And I know that she has issues with stabilizing her mood. So as long as she contains those emotions she clearly has, it's all fine with me. At first, she told me after clearly trying to pull herself together for a couple of moments that she's glad that she's aware of this issue now and would like to know what she can do to help me with that. She told me that she never even wanted the vibrator. I'm always the one handing it to her while she is perfectly happy with the sex and can't get enough of it either way, which is true. But I want her to orgasm. I want her to be satisfied. The feeling of a hate fuck isn't really something she can change. I'm just clearly more frustrated with her than I wanted to admit to myself. I told her that and went to make myself some breakfast. She stayed in bed, and when I returned, she looked up at me and told me that she feels like the way I communicated my thoughts just now were really hurtful, and that she'd like for me to phrase things like this differently from now on, because she feels like this was an unnecessarily cruel way of talking to her when even I agree that she can't even do anything about it. I'm honestly at a loss for words. She keeps on telling me that I don't have to walk on eggshells around her, but when I try to not do that and just outward say what my issue is, I'm the bad guy again. Maybe some perspective from outside will clear this up. I know that some of her friends really disapprove of our relationship, so hey, maybe there is something to it. Ada for telling my girlfriend about my thoughts?